What's going on, everyone? I'm Sage, and now that we have finally entered the ShadowLands expansion, I wanted to give a quick summary of all the things that I've been able to accomplish on my character now that things have started to die down and the daily activities have lessened, that I'll have more time to start making my video content once again. So over this last 2 weeks, thank you guys very much for supporting the channel and seeing the videos that I did do in beta and so on. I will start getting more up to date and more new videos out as soon as possible. Diving right into it, the first thing is the launch. The launch for me was fantastic. It was awesome. There was no issues. I was on the game several hours before the event actually happened, before we could actually go and talk to Morgraine and get into the Shadowlands. I was on there several hours, which was a great thing to do because a lot of people were having some login issues. I am not on a max capacity server with the guild that I'm in right now, so it wasn't that big of an issue making sure I got on. I know several people did have issues on some of the high population servers, and that kind of sucks, but for the majority of servers, and from what I've heard and seen, is most people had a very smooth launch. The phasing, the amount of phasing that Blizzard did at the launch of the expansion also helped an immense amount with people being able to get through the Maw scenario and complete all of their activities. There were a few hiccups, over in Maldraxxus, right after you helped Draka, there was some definite issues there at the beginning, especially if you rushed there. It was extremely laggy when you started doing the quest line after that, and it was very hard to turn in some of the quest rewards. And then over in Ardenweald with the Mothbane, there were several issues there as well, where the mob was not spawning or it was dying too fast. We couldn't tell, and we had to do some jumping into different groups to try to phase ourselves in and out in order to finalize that. But past those small issues that only lasted for a few minutes, the entire leveling process was extremely smooth, and I was able to actually get 60 right before the last scenario with the Prince of Ravendreth, which meant that I was fairly efficient about the way I leveled, and I was very happy about that, so that I completed the storyline on my main character Sage right at the end of the storyline. That way I didn't do too many extra things that led me to cap way before it. Then of course, as I said in my previous video, of course I went Night Fae on my Druid. Night Fae is still, in my opinion, the best way to go, not only because it's very good burst damage, but because it feels great as a spell to press. It doesn't cost any energy to do it, so that you can dump your energy and then use this convoke spell, and then you'll gain your energy back, but also because it's very versatile throughout all the Druid specs, and I do play all the Druid specs. Fertile Druid is just the spec I main. I will be doing Guardian Druid as well most of the time, and I might get into Resto and Boomy later on down the road, but definitely Guardian is something that I jump into quite a bit. So after the initial leveling, you start to focus in on what do you need to do next. So I completed all the quest lines and did everything that was essential to my main. After that, it came down to professions and alts. And this expansion is extremely friendly for alts because they have a leveling sequence called Threads of Fate, which a lot of people don't like. However, I thought it was perfectly fine. I Threads of Fated all of my alts, and the reason why I did that is because it allowed them to farm and level and use their Covenant abilities all at the same time, which is kind of knocked out several birds with one stone and allowed me to level them all up. So the characters that I did go in and I leveled were the ones that I mentioned I was going to, which is my Druid's my main, my Demon Hunter is my main alt, and then my Death Knight is my third main alt as well. And then after that, it's going to be my Monk and my Paladin. My Monk and my Paladin both are only level 51 right now. The other three are maxed out, and they are kept up with all Torghast and all Renowned. The gear that we've been able to obtain inside the Shadowlands so far is just Mythic 0, and that's 2-week lockouts worth of that gear, at least at the highest item level. And so on Sage, my main character, I've gotten to 183.31 item level, and that's because I was not able to get a weapon and I was not able to get a neck piece out of the runs that I did inside the Mythic Zeros. However, if you've been keeping up to date on the gearing method that most people are doing, is that they're going PvP route, because next week, as soon as Tuesday hits, we'll be able to get the next ranks of Renown, which will then unlock the next ranks of upgrades for PvP gear. So my weapon and my neck will be upgraded through the PvP gear system right off the get-go. Even though Mythic Plus will be a thing next week, that is something to just instantly get gear upgrades, especially since maintenance might take up until 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and my raid typically happens at 4:30 in the afternoon, so there's not going to be a whole lot of time to get some Mythic Plus in. Maybe a few runs, but not a ton. So on my Druid, I got him to 183.31. I have one BOE. I did not buy it. I got it as a drop actually on my Demon Hunter, and I just sent it over to my main. I have my Legendary equipped, and then I also have an inscription trinket that I created, which I also created on my Demon Hunter because he's an Inscriptionist. And then if we look at my Demon Hunter, same thing. He was able to clear 2 runs of full Mythic 0 clears. He is 179.93 in item level. Once again, his weapons, I got nothing. I have a pretty low trinket, and then his boots as well need to be upgraded. Now, the trinket can definitely be upgraded through heroic still. I haven't went and spammed that out because I haven't really felt the need to. And then his weapons I might upgrade through PvP, but since this is my main alt, this is somebody I can just wait for Mythic Plus, and I'm not too worried about bringing him in the raid because I know I'm going to be bringing my main Sage into raid. After that, we have my Death Knight, and my Death Knight is 173.50, by far the least amount geared out of all of them. This character did not get a full Mythic 0 clear on week 1, but did get a Mythic 0 clear week 2. But on his week 2 run, he also got very unlucky where we got multiples of the same slot. I think it was our belt that we got like 3 of them instead of getting multiple pieces of gear for the rest of the set. However, the Death Knight I'm once again not too worried about. It's my main Sage. I got him up to a pretty decent item level, I think, for the gear that was available for us at the beginning here. After gear, we start focusing on professions. We did actually focus on the professions very early on because you can upgrade several aspects of your character with professions. However, that upgrade eventually gets overridden by gear and stuff that you can get later on. So utilizing the professions for what they can give you at the beginning was pretty essential to making the rest of the transition smooth, utilizing those profession upgrades when they were actually relevant. And it paid off for me, in my opinion. It definitely paid off. Now, the professions that I've fully leveled so far is Jewelcraft and Mining, which is on my main Sage because I made the legendary ring, so I am a jewel crafter on my main. I have also fully leveled Cooking, and I'm almost halfway there for Fishing. Don't need to really max out Fishing because you can still get all the fish you need for your cooking, and over time that will just level up. So Mining, Jewel Crafting, Cooking, Fishing is halfway leveled. And then on my monk, I actually only have Skinning up. Leatherworking, I was going to do Leatherworking and max it out because of my shoulders for the Apex Predator Carving legendary, which will be the next legendary I craft. But I had a guildie that accidentally made leather shoulders instead of mel shoulders for their hunter, and I was able to trade them a ring base item legendary in order to get the shoulder legendary. So leatherworking is not my main focus because I already have that base item. So leatherworking will be the next thing that I'm going to be working on capping out because I don't have very many other professions to cap out. I also have alchemy and tailoring pretty much completely maxed out. I have about 10 more points on alchemy, but that will come out very quickly here, probably by the time this video even reaches you guys. Tailoring was pretty much free because of all the characters. When you're leveling them through, get a ton of cloth while they're leveling, and then you just send it over to whichever alt's going to be your tailor, and they pretty much max out instantly. Then I also have herbalism and inscription on my demon hunter that are completely knocked out. Inscription is huge because you get the 200 item level trinket. It's the highest item level piece of item that you can really get at this current time, and it'll also allow you to trade trinkets for normal Nathria if that's something that you really wanted to try to optimize a little bit for. But it's also a decent trinket. Both of the trinkets I have on my main Sage are both on-use trinkets, and they're both agility with a haste used, which is not my favorite type of trinket. I don't like having multiple on-use trinkets. I don't really like having any on-use trinkets, really. And having one that has on-use for haste is also kind of counter to the build I'm playing with, because the build I'm playing with the Cat Eye Curio legendary kind of negates haste being needed as much. But we can't be too picky with the gear that's available right now. We can be a little bit more picky next week once we have Mythic Plus open and raid. I also have blacksmithing and enchanting leveled up. Enchanting, I still have about 20 levels or so to go for the skill ups. And the reason why this isn't maxed out is because you need epic pieces of gear disenchanted in order to get the epic shards so that you can level it up. It's honestly not worth it currently, in my opinion, to level that up past that point, and only level it once you do get some of those shards. So throughout all my characters, I was able to get enough to get them up to 95 out of 115, but I'm not going to go buy them on the auction house right now because in 1 day's time currently, these will become obsolete and you'll be able to craft them all the way up. Plus, I have guild members that are fully capable of crafting all the legendary crafting materials at the end for enchanting, so I don't need this. I can utilize my guild to do it, and then I'll make sure that this gets maxed out as I do more Mythic Plus in the week to come. The only other profession I have not done at all is going to be engineering, and engineering isn't something I'm going to be utilizing right now because I do main a Druid and I don't need the battle res, I don't need invis because I can stealth, so on and so forth. Engineering will be on the back burner for quite a while because it doesn't give me anything I exactly want right now. It is good for a lot of people to get engineering though, because it's the only profession that offers you something that you can't really buy from the auction house or, you know, use a potion to kind of like take over. So that's my professions. I'm very happy that I gotten the majority of my professions up. I'm also happy that I've gotten 3 of my guys completely maxed out on their Torghast and Renown runs because it's allowed me to keep up. So my experience so far in ShadowLands has been very productive. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed so many people being online and enjoying and having fun inside the game. Even with the Covenant choice where some people are kind of up and down with it, I've actually very much enjoyed what ShadowLands has had to offer and everybody's experience inside the Shadowlands thus far. Next week, we will have Mythic Plus coming out. Remember, Mythic Plus 6 is what everybody's believing is going to be the cap out for gear, so doing anything above a 6 will just give you the same item level loot that a plus 6 would, but you can do higher level Mythic Plus, and we have yet to figure out if the Great Vault is going to award its max rewards, so people might be pushing for that 14 because 14 and 15 offer the same loot reward from the Mythic Plus Vault. At least what's been data mined on Wowhead would suggest that that's capable. So hopefully we'll have a blue post kind of smoothing out some of that information for us at the end here, but next week Mythic Plus opens. The raid, normal and heroic open, so make sure you get in there, you rock some normal and heroic, get as far progressed as you possibly can. Most people are going to probably do just straight heroic. My guild's actually going to go in there on normal mode and we'll probably clear up towards the end bosses, and then we'll go and start progressing heroic right from the beginning just to get that gear for everybody else out, and we'll see how far we are able to progress in that. Mythic Plus is awesome and I'm enjoying the dungeons and the content that there is. I'm not the biggest fan of the Covenant specific buffs inside each of the dungeons. I kind of wish that they would cap those out for Mythic Plus progression, but if it is, we're gonna have to try to find that kind of a group for those Mythic Plus scenarios, and even at that, some of them aren't that big of a deal depending on the dungeon. So that's so far my experience in Shadowland. Overall, fantastic time. I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna have videos coming out specifically talking about legendary selection, why I've already crafted my legendary, Covenant Sanctum upgrades, where we're at with it, you know, how to properly optimize like the mission table and so on and so forth. I'll be coming out with all of this. I'll be coming out with guides about Torghast because Torghast is still very simple on the Fertile Druid. I know I had a few people making comments that I haven't replied to yet about Torghast still being very difficult for him. Druids are great inside Torghast. Dungeon damage content. I've enjoying my damage profile inside these dungeons, especially since everything dies so quickly and Convoke is such a strong ability for us. It is great to feel very, very strong with inside the dungeon content. I've definitely been feeling very good about the state of Fertile Druid thus far, especially at the beginning of the expansion, and we're only going to get stronger as we get more things unlocked with the soulbinds, better conduits, better gear, and then better stats. So stay tuned into the channel. I hope you guys are enjoying Shadowlands. Once again, thank you all so much for the support. If you want to see me doing some of this, I'm going to start streaming more often at twitch.tv/sageshifter. You can also find me over on Twitter for some discussions and updates on content. Once again, thank you all very much, and I will see you all next time.